Good morning and welcome to the Board of County Commissioners meeting. Today is Tuesday, July 21st. We do begin each of our meetings with an invocation, and this morning we have Leslie Stewart from Church for All Nations. We invite you to stand and join us.
Thank you. Good morning from Pastors Mark and Linda Cowart, Church for All Nations. God in heaven, we thank you for the encouragement in your word to get wisdom as it belongs to you, that you also encourage us to get knowledge and understanding, and that in all of our getting, you encourage us especially to have wisdom, and that even Joshua is recorded as being full of the spirit of wisdom. I pray over every member here on this board that they would be full of wisdom from heaven. I ask for knowledge and understanding on their behalf as they hear and decide matters today. Let the speech of all who are here be gracious and seasoned with salt, so that they know how to answer each matter, and that what is heard and decided here today is for the good of all of El Paso County. We bless El Paso County, Father, and that may it all become all that you have desired it to be. In the mighty name of Jesus, amen.
Amen. And if I can ask Vice Chair Nelson to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 3.
Item number 3 is staff emergency items, and I'm unaware of any staff emergency items today.
Item 4.
Item number 4 is changes, postponements, and notice of the next meeting. I'm unaware of any changes or postponements to today's agenda, and the next meeting will be Thursday, July 23rd at 9 o'clock for land use.
Item 5.
Item number 5 is the consent calendar, including items 5A through 5F7.
Okay, is there anybody here who wishes to speak on an item on the consent calendar this morning? If you'd like to come on down. If you have not already signed in, I'll just need you to do so. State your name for the record before you speak, and you'll have 3 minutes.
Yes, good morning. I've already signed in. My name is Ren Trudell. I live in Woodmore, 1420 Old Antlers Way in the Woodcrest subdivision, lot 118. My concern here is a little bit with one of the consent agenda items where we're talking about a $3.6 million contract to redo portions of Deer Creek Road. I drove down that this morning. That is less than 4/10 of a mile. It seems like an awful high expense for 4/10 of a mile. I also took some time the other week to look at what was going on in the community. One of the items there was the Ascent Church is having some renovations done to that. And that submission of the engineering for that was from Vertec Engineers. And I have some concerns and curiosities about Vertec and their involvement in the community and how all of a sudden we're getting a lot of activity going on up in the Woodmore area where potholes being repaired, curbs going in. I'll leave it at that with you folks. It's just concerning to me to see $3.6 million on less than 4/10 of a mile. And I've used the businesses in that area for the 34 years that I've lived here. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak on an item on the consent calendar? Okay, seeing none, I will bring it up here to commissioners for any additional comments or a motion.
Thank you. Yes, I do appreciate the comments. It is for 3 roads on that item, and it is a Pikes Peak Rural Transportation Authority approved project by the voters back in 2014, if I'm correct. So unfortunately, yeah, things do cost too much money. So I would move approval. I'd move approval of the consent calendar.
Second.
Okay, that's been moved and seconded. I'll give one last opportunity for any comments from commissioners. And seeing none, I will call the roll beginning online with Commissioner Weissong.
Aye.
Vice Chair Nelson,
Aye.
Commissioner Applegate,
Aye.
Commissioner Williams,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. That passes 5-0. Item 6.
Item number 6 is the proclamation recognizing National Night Out 2026. Holly Williams, Commissioner, Board of County Commissioners.
Okay, I will move the following proclamation. Proclamation recognizing National Night Out 2026. Whereas the El Paso County Sheriff's Office in partnership with the National Association of Town Watch, NATW, is sponsoring a positive, proactive, nationwide crime, drug, and violence prevention program on August 4th, 2026, entitled National Night Out. And whereas National Night Out is a great opportunity for El Paso County to join forces with many other communities nationwide in advancing cooperative crime prevention efforts between police and the community. And whereas neighborhood watch groups play an essential role in assisting the El Paso County Sheriff's Office and its many law enforcement partners throughout the region in their efforts to prevent crime and prosecute criminals. And Whereas all El Paso County residents can have a positive impact on our community through our participation in community crime prevention programs that are proven effective tools in reducing crime and violence and breaking the destructive stranglehold of substance abuse and illegal drug trafficking that endangers El Paso County residents and puts a strain on human services, criminal justice, and public safety resources. And whereas police community partnerships and neighborhood safety and awareness are the themes of the National Night Out program and the keys to maintaining safe, vibrant, and attractive neighborhoods that are essential to the quality of life we enjoy in El Paso County. And whereas the El Paso County Sheriff's Office Community Affairs and Research Unit continuously strives to build and maintain relationships and partnerships with residents by providing opportunities for community members to learn about policing, while law enforcement members learn about the policing needs of the community. And whereas neighborhood watch groups throughout El Paso County have planned events to come together to enjoy food and community and to meet their neighbors and local law enforcement officers. And whereas working together, we make communities safer, more caring places to live. Now, therefore, the Board of County Commissioners of El Paso County, Colorado does hereby call upon all citizens of El Paso County to join the El Paso County Sheriff's Office and its law enforcement partners in supporting and participating in this unique nationwide crime, drug, and violence prevention program on August 4th, 2026, done this 21st day of 2026, July, at Colorado Springs, Colorado. The Board of County Commissioners of El Paso County, Colorado, Carrie Geithner, Chair, Lauren Nelson, Vice Chair, Holly Williams, Bill Wysong, and Corey Applegate, members, attested to by Steve Schleicher, our County Clerk and Recorder. Do I have a second?
Second. Okay, that's been moved and seconded, and we do have some guests here this morning, and I'd invite you to come forward.
Good morning, Commissioners, Madam Chair, Under Sheriff Jeff Kramer with the Sheriff's Office. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today and for your continued support of the El Paso County Sheriff's Office and public safety throughout our community. We're always excited and proud to participate in National Night Out, a nationwide campaign that brings law enforcement and the communities we serve together to strengthen relationships, build trust, and promote safer neighborhoods. While National Night Out is an annual event our office looks forward to each year, we recognize and are intentional about building relationships with community members, business and faith leaders, and the like every day through all aspects of the Sheriff's Office mission. We take the importance of developing strong, meaningful partnerships between community members, business, neighborhood leaders, and the community seriously. National Night Out is one of the highlights of our year because it reinforces a simple but important truth. Public safety is strongest when law enforcement and the community work together. Throughout the week, more than 50 members of the Sheriff's Office, including sworn deputies, professional staff, volunteers, and certainly members of the Sheriff's Posse, will participate in 10 National Night events across unincorporated El Paso County. From Monument in Black Forest to Falcon, Hanover, Security Widefield, Cimarron Hills, and more, our personnel will spend time with families, neighborhood watch groups, local businesses, and community leaders who are invested in keeping their neighborhoods safer. We're also pleased to partner with the El Paso Teller 911 Authority at several of these events. Their team will encourage residents to sign up for Peak Alerts, which, as you know, is our region's emergency notification system, while sharing information about the strong partnerships between our agencies and the many ways we work together to keep our community informed, prepared, and safe. These events give us the opportunity to connect with residents outside of emergency situations, to answer some questions, listen to concerns, build trust, and strengthen the partnerships that make our communities more resilient. I also want to thank this board for formally recognizing National Night Out and for honoring the volunteers, neighborhood leaders, and residents whose commitment makes these events possible year after year. Your support sends a clear message that community engagement and public safety go hand in hand. On behalf of Sheriff Roybal and everyone at the El Paso County Sheriff's Office, thank you for your continued partnership and unwavering support of those who serve and the citizens we are honored to protect. We look forward to another successful National Night Out and building upon the relationships that help make El Paso County one of the safest and strongest communities in Colorado. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here today and sharing your words. And I will bring it up here for any comments or questions from commissioners. Go ahead, Vice Chair Nelson.
I just want to give a shout out to my own personal neighborhood watch leader in my neighborhood. Susan Mitchell is here this morning. Thank you for being here to celebrate this proclamation and all the hard work you do for the Park Vista neighborhood. And last year, she hosted a meeting at her home in her yard, and we had an amazing turnout from the Sheriff's Department. Quite a few of that staff showed up to help answer questions and just speak to some of the concerns that individuals had, or just kind of wanting to learn more. I know there's some concerns about a stop sign and people running it, and I was really grateful to have their presence in the meeting. I was there sort of as a neighbor and as a commissioner, and so I was grateful to have the support to answer those questions. That part of what we see happening is just accountability, and that falls within the sheriff's realms, not so much policy making as the commissioners, but wonderful to have these programs that we can just be good neighbors and looking out for each other. And if you see someone has left their garage door open and that seems unusual, to just pick up the phone and give them a call. And so just sort of encouraging us to be a good neighbor and look out for each other. So thank you for being here this morning and for this proclamation.
Commissioner Applegate. Oh,
Thank
I'm
you.
going to let you finish off the end if that's okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Under Sheriff Kramer, for showing up for the proclamation. Thanks, staff. I see some of the men and women of the Thin Blue Line, so I appreciate it. So, and like you had said, to echo what you had remarked on, it's about bringing public safety and the community together. So I appreciate it. I really do. And thank you for your hard work, your service, your dedication, all of you at the Sheriff's Office. So
Thank you.
Yep.
And then Commissioner Weissong online, do you have any comments for us?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Appreciate the proclamation and then also Under Sheriff's comment. And when you know somebody and you have that opportunity just to have that capability of getting to know whether it's law enforcement, neighbors, usually that can head off a lot of negative issues. So again, thank you very much and appreciate Commissioner Williams for reading the proclamation.
Okay, I will just add my thanks for the Sheriff's Office for all the work that you're doing to help facilitate this for neighbors. I appreciate the comments that have been made so far and echo those sentiments about how important it is to get to know your neighbors. And the garage door is always a good one, a good reminder. That's one that I'm grateful for my neighbors when I leave my garage door open. So it's just really great to have those kind of relationships. It's good for so many reasons, and safety is one of those. So thank you for the work that you are doing on this. Thank you, Commissioner Williams, for sponsoring the proclamation, and I will turn it over to you now.
Yes, so as Sheriff Roybal has corrected me every year, I'm so happy to live in a close neighborhood where we have an HOA. I have most of my neighbors' phone numbers, but especially the 8 or 9 around. We watch each other. We keep an eye out for each other. We have a couple of elderly individuals who are living alone. We keep an eye out for them. But if your neighbor's garage door is open, please call them first before entering their house to close it.
Yes, ma'am.
Sheriff Roybal reminds me that every year because it's dangerous to enter a house when the garage door is open. But I just truly appreciate, I think it's very important to stress here in the neighborhood night out, the importance of just having a contact phone number for your next door neighbor. Write it down, name, even if you only wave at each other once a day, write down their name and a cell phone number. So if something strange happens, you can call them. I did have a neighbor leave his garage door open one night. I did not want to go in and 1, scare the living daylights out of him, or 2, get in trouble with the sheriff. And so I did not have his son's phone number, which made it a little bit more problematic to call his son and say, hey, I need to go and shut this garage door. So just be sure to keep an eye on your neighbors and take care of them because it's really helpful. And we appreciate all the sheriff's office does for our community. Thank you.
Thanks so much for the comments.
Okay, with that, I think we are ready to take a vote. We'll begin online with Commissioner Weissong,
Aye.
Vice Chair Nelson,
Aye.
Commissioner Applegate,
Aye.
Commissioner Williams,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. That passes 5-0. We'll take a brief recess for a photograph. I'll call this meeting back to order. We are on item 7.
Item number 7 is comments by elected officials and commissioner liaison reports.
Okay, do we have any countywide elected officials here today who would like to speak? I don't see anyone in the room, so we will go ahead and begin with Commissioner Weissong online.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Last week I was out for a medical procedure, and this week will be today's meeting, Thursday's land use, and then a couple of other meetings that I'll be able to participate online, but kind of a shortened week.
Vice Chair.
Good morning. It has been very busy. last week, one of the key items I'd like to just speak to is the CSBG Community Services Block Grant Board met in person last Thursday. I believe it was the first time this board has ever met in person. They usually just do online and meet quarterly. And we had a really productive meeting where this group is an advisory board to the commissioners to help designate where federal funding will be used in El Paso County to combat poverty. In respect to, we're looking for organizations that provide skills training, financial coaching, anything that helps individuals become self-sufficient. And so really meaningful work. This program operates on a 3-year cycle, and we're coming up on our next 3-year cycle of we will be putting out the word to organizations to submit applications, and then we'll go through that whole process of reviewing applications and determining where this funding, it's a little over $1 million that will be distributed throughout our community to just help individuals become more self-sufficient. And so I'm excited about this work. I'm grateful for those volunteers on that board that spent the time last week to dig in and help us get to a good place on what our goals are and what we're going to be looking for in these applications. And so more work to come there, but it was a great meeting. And so I want to also thank everyone for coming in person, because that was nice. It just is sometimes easier to get to know each other a little bit and then have more conversation when it's not through a computer screen. So then Saturday, I was able to attend the El Paso County Fair with my family, and we had a great time. And I'm just really grateful for all the staff that volunteered or signed up extra hours to be out there and supporting the community. And so fun to see all of the animals and how hard these 4-H kids are working. And then my 2 children, of course, loved the carnival and all of the fair food, the caramel apples, the funnel cakes, all the things. And great excuse to have some junk food. And so really encourage you to consider attending next year if you weren't able to make it this year. And then I will be participating online for Thursday's land use meeting as well this week. My family is about to head out on vacation, so looking forward to some time away, some downtime. It's been incredibly busy, and I just look forward to some time to unplug. So thanks.
Commissioner Applegate.
Thank you. Yes, and Fair and the rodeo, I think we're very well received. I know I ended up out there for at least a day for both, so I appreciate it, and I appreciate all the staff and everybody that worked hard to put on those events. Highlight for my last couple of weeks was last weekend. I was at the NACO conference, so the National Association of Counties, yes. And big shout out to my staff. They filled in for me early in the Friday morning when I was still flying out. And so Economic Development and the Workforce Committee, we did get some resolutions passed and some stuff kind of geared towards like more trade school things like that. I was glad to see that go forward. And I did see a presentation also on data centers next day, the good and the bad about them. So not that that's not a controversial issue or anything. Also, CCI met, and that was Colorado staff and commissioners. And we got together, we had a lunch, and we just kind of went over our plans moving forward, just what we want to see in the future and when and if we want to do any resolutions and push for anything as a state. And congratulations on the second VP election, Sarah Benatar from Arizona. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Commissioner Williams.
Yes, good morning. First of all, I wanted to thank everybody who participated in making our county fair a success. I was not able to attend this year. And also, during the same time, we also had the Pikes Peak Rodeo. And so I'm sure that was a huge success, benefiting our military personnel and families as well. I was able to attend the National Association of Counties in New Orleans. I will say one negative thing. The food was great. I finally met a state or a city where drivers are worse than Colorado, and it is New Orleans. A total of 2 near misses and 1 accident amongst the Colorado delegation. So it was quite the experience. And we also were able to attend several informational seminars and go through many of our They have a huge vendor hall and learn a lot of things about things that are happening in the upcoming years. We attended the World War II National Museum, which was pretty humbling in and of itself, to remember back to that time. And lots of compliments. Our USDA state representative is former NACO president Sally Clark, also a former county commissioner. Lots of compliments from the Colorado delegation on a presentation she did in front of, I think, the Agricultural Committee. And so I wanted to give her a shout out because of all of those compliments. The other one thing I wanted to highlight is over the past 7 years as commissioner, I have witnessed several devastating accidents in the Black Forest area due to bad driving. This year, we are making some changes in Black Forest. I know that that has caused a stir, but if you look, the most devastating accident you can get into is a T-bone accident. We are changing a lot of intersections over the next several years into roundabouts. So we all need to become roundabout proficient, but the hope is in doing that, we will not have to meet with the family of a young man. I had met with the family of a young man 2 years ago who passed away at an intersection in Black Forest. And it was just so devastating. And I still think about that young man very, very often. And so we're making these changes because of that meeting and because of the many other individuals who've lost their lives on those Black Forest intersections. It is just too hard when you've got so many cars traveling so fast on those rural roads. So it will be a good change. It's going to be a big adjustment for a lot of people in Black Forest, but I'm very, very supportive of that, and I wanted to address that today. Thank you.
It has been a very busy couple of weeks. Though we have had a lighter meeting schedule, the work at the county has been has not slowed down. In fact, we have been very busy, and so actually that meeting schedule has allowed for us to tackle some other very important things that just are always going on here at the county. I want to first thank the staff and volunteers that helped put the fair on. I just absolutely love seeing people at the fair, going out, seeing our Eastern County residents, and then also seeing folks from the city who are coming out and getting to experience a little bit of the rural and ag lifestyle that exists still in the eastern portion of the county. The kids are always phenomenal, as was mentioned, and so impressive to see young people who take such responsibility. They are articulate, they are smart, and so it is always uplifting to see that we have our future is in good hands with many, many of these young people. So that's very encouraging. I attended many of those events, including our VIP kickoff, where we thanked our sponsors for their help. Our fair is self-sustaining, and we do get sponsorships and put those dollars back into our fairgrounds, which is, I think, a wonderful model. I also participated in some of the Queen events. So the Queen always has a brunch, and thanks her family for her time as the Fair Queen. Just a really fun program, and grateful to see all or many of the past queens who are also invited to that, just reminding us of the long-standing program that is the El Paso County Fair Queen program. I also attended the Demolition Derby, always a fan favorite. I don't know what it is about cars smashing into each other that is so entertaining exactly, but it seems universally loved. So that was a sold-out event again this year. And during that, got to participate in the backseat driver contest, which is a really fun event where there's someone who drives a tractor with a blindfold and someone who sits in the back and is giving them directions on how to get around cones. So Commissioner Nelson and I both participated in this.
It's terrifying. I mean, and when she says tractor, it's like a little riding lawnmower.
Yes,
So just
yes.
perspective. But
Yes.
my husband was guiding me. I was blindfolded, and that's trust, people. Like when you have no idea and you're driving, it's terrifying.
Yes, it was a lot of fun to watch. And we had so many people that participated. So congratulations to the winners who did way better than we did. I participated with the Fair Queen, so that was fun. I actually should have sent AV the video of Commissioner Nelson and her husband. That would have been a fun one to watch. But it was a lot of fun. And as I said, the winners did a fantastic job. My kids even got to be involved. Now that I have teenagers and my 18-year-old was the driver, I think he drives better than that on the road, at least I hope so. But it was a lot of fun and really appreciate all the work, the hard work that goes into making that fair a reality. We also had the first ever drone show, which I only got to see photos of because I was not able to make it out for that, but was really excited to hear from people what a neat experience that was. So, fantastic week of the fair. Can't wait to see all the final numbers and how things went and if we met our goals and that, but it truly was a wonderful event. And I am looking forward to hearing more about all of the goals that we met and then beginning that planning for next year because it's always time to reflect and then work to improve. So I also have regional building meeting this week that I will be attending after our land use meeting, which has already been mentioned. So again, another busy week. And other than that, just, we still have our summer schedule, so we're not meeting every Tuesday. So make sure you're paying attention to that. But again, lots of good work going on in this time period that we're able to catch up on some of the things that we are, reading and working on. That is not an action item that we're going to see just yet at this meeting, but that there's a lot of work moving forward on those things. So with that, I think we are ready to move to item 8.
Item number 8 is community service organization reports, and there are none.
Item 9.
Item number 9 is public comment on items not scheduled on the agenda. The commissioners welcome communication in various forms. However, the public comment period is not intended for dialogue, and commissioners do not engage in conversation during this time. Members of the public seeking responses to specific questions are encouraged to submit inquiries through Citizen Connect. And Madam Chair, I'm aware that there are several people signed in to speak today.
Okay, before we begin, I just do want to give a brief reminder that if you are here to comment on a specific land use item that may come to the board in the future, please keep in mind that you will either want to return and provide comments at a notice public hearing or by providing written comments to plnweb@elpasoco.com. That ensures that your comments are incorporated into the official record for that item for consideration. And we are ready to proceed. So again, same procedure. Make sure if you haven't already signed in for those who are coming down that you do so. State your name for the record, and then you will have 3 minutes.
Good morning. My name is Tracy John, and I am here as a resident over in Monument. I wanted to talk about you guys looking at rezoning for Buc-ee's, and the 74,000 square foot Buc-ee's is comparable to a small regional attraction or amusement park. The amount of people and the amount of traffic, as Holly Williams said, traffic here in Colorado is bad. The amount of people coming into that Buc-ee's is going to be around 8,000 to 20,000 a day on average, according to Buc-ee's own information. If we got that amount in Monument, we're looking at more than the entire population of Monument, which is only about 13,000 people. It's open 24 hours a day. It has about 8,000 to 20,000 visitors a day. We're talking about the increased sales tax revenue that would be great for this county and for the city. Unfortunately, the increased traffic, the congestion, the rural character of our facility, our area is going to be impacted negatively. When you're talking about looking at the significant amount of exits and traffic coming from the interstate, it's not going to be able to work within our area. We're looking at a lot of activity that's not going to be consistent with Monument. And unfortunately, we in Monument don't feel like you guys are listening to us. We've tried several times to stop this. C1 is not intended for this. This is a 74,000 square foot travel center. That is not a convenience store. That is an amusement park. That is not consistent with Monument's values, needs. It's just not. That's 58% at 8,000 people a day. That's 58% of Monument's residents coming in every single day. It's a 24-hour entity. We can't have that in Monument, and I would strongly encourage you to vote no on rezoning for Buc-ee's. Thank you for your time.
Morning. My name is David Parks, and I just wanted to let you put a face with a name. I sent you an email yesterday afternoon, and this comment is just regarding that. It was very touching and inspiring to hear the sheriff's office in the night out business, because neighborhood is important to all of us, our safety, our friends, our resources. It's where we live. And I'm just coming to speak to you briefly about a neighborhood that doesn't quite look like a neighborhood. County Line Road on I-25 is a very quiet place, or it has been. There's a mountain of dirt there now, and we all know why. But it is a neighborhood. People on the east for miles and people on the west for miles are a group of people who have regular habits and lives and houses. And the impact of what's proposed there will destroy this neighborhood. And I'm not talking 10 people who live on the east side and are looking at that pile of dirt right now. I'm talking thousands of people. So my request in my letter, and my humble request to you now is, please, when you have your executive session and you talk about this upcoming meeting, consider the fact that there are many, many constituents who are very involved in this, whose neighborhoods are at risk, who would like to come to the meeting and can't come to a 9 a.m. meeting. So I would respectfully ask you to consider, I'm sure the logistics of this are kind of like nothing you've ever had to handle before, but could you please consider doing something in a larger venue in the evening when everybody whose neighborhood concerns can be represented and can show up? I don't know how you're going to handle it all. I realize it's probably like something, again, that you've never quite handled before. And I'm sure there are many questions for you about the logistics of it. But it would be really wonderful if more people who are concerned and want to be involved can come to this public hearing for Buc-ee's appeal. That's all. Thank you very much.
Good morning. Eric Braun, live in Woodmore. Ms. Williams, we've spoken a few times. I'm a heavy highway builder. I've done many bridges, 22, many box culverts in this county as well. I look at the situation up there as far as the traffic goes. The ramps are incredibly short. You have climbing lanes, both north and southbound. The last thing you want to do is add more traffic, especially on the southbound side going into the port of entry. So far this year, CDOT has replaced the guardrail at that entry 4 times because people don't make the right move. Secondly, during the gap, we built 2 wildlife crossings. We just built another very significant structure. Douglas County recognizes the value of that area. Mr. Ballone recognizes the value of that area. Don't make a mistake and not value the wildlife that goes through there. I've had elk cross county line, full gallop, stepping over the fences like we step over a garden hose. You're going to add in a bunch of bucky people. Not a good plan. People drive too fast on county line. You're going to add in inexperienced drivers, not used to mountains, not used to hills. You're going to have train wrecks. Again, Douglas County has made great strides in salvaging vast areas to be enjoyed later. We're in the last wooded area of El Paso County going north. We're going to put a 74,000 square foot amusement park full of barbecue, jerky, Chinese stuffed dolls. Come on, let's be smart about this, people. Please, use your heads. Understand that this is the last portion of El Paso County when people are leaving it to the north and are going to drive all the way the next 15 miles to the south end of Castle Rock. And what are they seeing behind them? You want to put a 31-acre gas station in? Really not a good plan. Thanks.
Good morning, Chair and Commissioners. The question before you is not whether any single large-scale business...
Could you please start with your name, please?
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Good morning, Chair and Commissioners. Lynette Presetta.
Thank you.
The question before you is not whether a single large-scale business meets the definition of existing land use codes, but whether the business brings activity that far exceeds the definition in scale, impact, and infrastructure demands. It will also not change the definition of Beacon Light Road, as it was structurally engineered and designed as a rural connector, supporting 200 to 400 cars on any given day. Beacon Light's rural designation is incompatible with thousands of autos and heavy commercial truck traffic. CDOT regulates major and minor arterials to ensure they can safely accommodate high-volume commercial traffic. Is CDOT going to certify the entire stretch of Beacon Light Road as being able to accommodate high-volume car traffic as well as commercial trucks? Under El Paso County Land Development Code Section 622, surrounding roads in their entirety must be compatible with the entire size of the project. Crucially, the Shannon and Wilson 2022 study accounts for 0% of heavy commercial trucks along Beacon Light Road. Additionally, under the level of service LOS rule, County and CDOT states that a new development cannot degrade a road down to a falling grade LOSF. Monument Hill sits on highly active, expansive bentonite clays and alluvial soils. Multi-ton vehicles repeatedly pushing down on expansive soils hidden under asphalt triggers subgrade pumping. The pressure from heavy vehicles will literally liquefy the road beneath them, meaning a driver cannot see the impending failure. The road will become an obstacle course of broken or sliding asphalt from overuse. When looking at right-of-way and safety standards, LDC Chapter 1.12, public facilities such as roads must have sufficient capacity to serve a proposed development. It also emphasizes current residents should not bear more than their fair share of the cost for these facilities. We have already spent far too much public money on this road. Code does not require residents to subsidize infrastructure that would far exceed the structural integrity of a rural connector road. It requires the infrastructure to be adequate before a project is approved. What's the big deal? Hire out for new geotechnical and engineering reports that would support the new use of Beacon Light Road to handle heavy commercial vehicles with excessive tonnage and along with thousands of autos. Remember, the Shannon and Wilson report only allowed for 200 to 400 ADT with zero commercial or heavy vehicles. CDOT should come in and certify that Beacon Light can safely handle commercial traffic from Beacon Light all the way down to Highway 105. Any large-scale business that wants to locate at Beacon Light County Line and Highway 105 has a moral and legal obligation to make sure their staff, customers, and vendors have safe, certified commercial roadway. Therefore, let's make sure the geotechnical, engineering, and design of the road matches any... Thank you very much.
Good morning. My name is Katie Guile, and I live less than a mile from the Buc-ee's. And to come at you from more of a personal standpoint, the proposed Buc-ee's sign is going to be a focal point from every single window in the front of my home, as well as a bunch of my neighbors' homes. And at night, the light from the Buc-ee's is going to light up every single window from my window. Also, County Line Road is the exit that I, as well as the residents of Woodmore, Palmer Lake, Kings Deer, Black Forest, use to get to my home. And I will likely no longer be able to use that if the Buc-ee's is built. My family RVs every year to Florida, and we have stopped at that Buc-ee's in Texas. And I like Buc-ee's, actually. But that Buc-ee's is in an industrial area, not smack dab in the middle of a residential community. I'm not opposed to something being built on this land, but I want it to be something that serves the residents of Woodmore, Monument, and Palmer Lake. This proposed travel center does none of those things. This travel center is designed to serve tourists who are passing through our communities. This has even been admitted to by Buc-ee's business model. This business model does nothing for the residents who live here but disrupt our quality of life. This proposed travel center will create traffic disruptions, displace wildlife, disrupt myself and my neighbors, put a drain on our physical and emergency resources. I'm asking the board to please reject Buc-ee's when they appeal, so that we can consider putting something in its place that would benefit our Tri-Lakes community in the future. Thank you so much for your consideration when they appeal. Thank you.
Good morning, commissioners. I've signed in. My name is Steve Draper, and I live in the Monument area, Colorado Estates. In the words of astronaut Jim Lovell, Houston, we've had a problem. I can say that with some authority. I'm originally from Houston. And did you know Houston is the largest city in America with no zoning? It relies on a patchwork of land use ordinances instead, and the result is an absolute mess. Incompatible development wherever a development wants it, and resulting traffic that swallows your time in life. That's the main reason I left after watching the constant degradation over many years. By the way, Buc-ee's hometown area as well. So when I bought my Monument home, I did my homework. I checked the zoning. The county's own rules confirmed this area was protected by the Greenland Open Space and by CC and C1 community zoning with neighborhood guards against a Buc-ee's project like this. I relied on that. My neighbors relied on that. Zoning is a promise, but it only means something if this board, you all, enforces it as written. Today, you're going to go into executive session for legal advice on the protocols and presentations for the Buc-ee's appeal hearing. Legal advice is your right, but adopting potential biased rules is not something the law allows behind closed doors. I think Mr. Hodges would agree. Since this is our only chance to speak before that session, I'm placing our requests on the public record now. And we've seen how those meetings go. At one August Palmer Lake hearing, the Buc-ee's team and their hundreds of pages of packet material held the floor for the vast majority of time, a meeting that ran over 6 hours, approaching midnight. Citizens were almost stopwatched with their 3 minutes, just like now, but Buc-ee's having the last say. The time drag was all part of Buc-ee's strategy. Buc-ee's did not count on the citizens still in their seats at midnight, waiting for their winning 3 minutes. It shouldn't be an endurance contest to be heard. So for this hearing, I respectfully ask the board to give area citizens and organized citizens groups the opportunity for presentation time with equal to the applicants. And please have time disclosed limits that bind both sides. We request Buc-ee's not to take advantage of your time or ours. I see that my time is almost up, but call this project what it is and what Buc-ee's itself called it. In their 2024 meeting with this county on an EDARP recording at about the 3-minute timestamp, Bucky's representative Kyle Watson said with 400 to 500
Sir-
parking spaces, it's
Sir,
a
your
little
time
bit-
has expired.
Okay, a little bit different than a gas station, which is why we call it a travel center.
Thank you, sir.
Their words.
Already signed in. Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Darren Fike, and I am a Tri-Lakes area resident and a concerned citizen who is anxiously awaiting the upcoming ADM 264 Administrative Determination Appeal hearing. About a week ago, I became very concerned when I saw the details of Agenda Item 14B for today's meeting, so much so that I felt compelled to attend this morning in person and voice my concerns. For the BOCC to have an executive session to receive legal advice and options for hearing protocols, procedures, and presentations for the Bucky's appeal is suspicious. How many other appeals or hearings have had a similar discussion? The typical process for public comment during land use decisions is already heavily tilted in favor of the applicants, i.e. developers. The developers get to make a presentation while citizens do not. The developer's time is unlimited, while citizens are limited to 3 minutes each. The developers get to have a rebuttal period, while citizens do not. My suspicion is that the BOCC might be looking to their lawyers to find ways to further limit or curtail the rights of all citizens to speak fully and be heard on this extremely important and controversial matter. I cannot advise you strongly enough not to do this. The citizens of El Paso County have been waiting for over a year and a half, since December 2024, to officially voice our opposition directly to the proposed Bucky's project. We never had the opportunity in Palmer Lake, since Bucky's cowardly withdrew their application right before Palmer Lake trustees were about to vote it down. We have been told since January to be patient, since there has nothing been filed with the El Paso County, so our comments have not been placed in the official record yet. And we have had to sit and watch the dirt piles on the Bucky's property grow larger and larger every day, using free soil from a county road construction project without recourse. All citizens deserve the right and opportunity to speak out at this appeal hearing fully and completely. In fact, due to the controversy surrounding this issue, I would hope that the BOCC will be asking their lawyers today to expand the rights of citizens in the appeal hearing. Number one, allow organized community presentation time equal to the applicants. Number two, allow citizens closing statements after the applicant's rebuttal. Number three, introduce relevant Palmer Lake and county administration records into the process. Number four, impose no limits on the number of citizens who wish to speak. And number five, hold the meeting in a Tri-Lakes area location during the evening hours so the most people can attend and voice their concerns. I urge you to do the right thing. Let your constituents be heard. Thank you.
Good morning. My name's Kenneth Kay of Monument, Colorado. You've probably already guessed the reason I'm here is because of the pending Bucky's application to be considered a convenience store. A convenience store generally is to serve the neighboring community. Keep in mind that half the community north of that Bucky's is a natural preserve. So that means that they're going to be serving things for the deer and the elk, which I don't think they'll do, especially their beef jerkies. A convenience store is generally to serve the neighborhood, like a supermarket. Their 74,000 foot layout is larger than a supermarket. They're going to have, which they say is incidental, gas pumps there. Depending upon how you count it, 60 or 120. It'll serve up to 120 cars at a single time. I don't know if that's being secondary to any business. Generally, a convenience store doesn't advertise 30 or 60 or 80 miles away, which is a regular practice of Bucky's. And last, if it talks like a duck and smells like a duck, it must be a duck. Well, this doesn't sound like a convenience store, doesn't smell like a convenience store, and doesn't look at anything like a convenience store. Thank you for your time today.
If I could ask as folks, go ahead, come on down. But, please do try to come forward so we don't have as much transition time so we can get through as many speakers as possible.
Thanks for having me this morning. I appreciate being here. My name is Evan Crowley. I am a Tri-Lakes guy since 2001. I went to Lewis Palmer High School there, so the local high school. My family's continued to live there for the last 25 years. Happy to represent some of the people who maybe couldn't be here. I was glad to skip away from work for a bit. But my focus would be, I've counted the gas stations. There's 13 gas stations in the Tri-Lake region. We don't need another gas station. There's 13 or more convenience stores in the Monument, in the Tri-Lakes area. We don't need another convenience store. This ends up being a conversation about gratuitousness. We want to invest in businesses. We're pro-business. I believe we all would agree with that. We want to talk entrepreneurship and promoting even small businesses and upcoming businesses. Absolutely. This is on a different tier. I think our local currency, our community rallies around nature, our Front Range, our views. We love these things. These are the heart and soul of our community. And to put something like a Buc-ee's right at the top, at the pinnacle of our wonderful community, seems to be a monstrosity, seems to be something that's the antithesis to what we as the citizens appreciate and desire for our future. So please, as you're considering this, we urge you, to go against Buc-ee's on our behalf. So this really comes down to, how does this support the community? And it really would only support the community through rejecting their proposal. Again, as I'm repeating what we've already been talking about, this is a push for a long time. We're getting tired. The community, I've talked to many citizens in the community. We're getting almost to the point of discouragement, to the point of, is this actually inevitable? Well, no, we don't believe this is inevitable. We believe that it's actually shouldn't be inevitable. And we're coming together now, and hopefully even more in the future, to stand firm and strong against what seems like an outsider who doesn't have our best interests in mind. We love our views. We are not about to compromise our views of our beautiful Colorado mountain range for something that will not ultimately benefit us in the long run, in the short run, or in the interim as they're building, et cetera. This is a thing that we do. We're not here to feast on fumes. We're here to feast our eyes on the beauty of God's creation, the wonder and majesty of what we have, which we appreciate and we're thankful for, and we're so glad. And so please stand up with us, stand up for us. We really, really are united, the entire community, Tri-Lakes, and we desire this. And it's for the best to say no to Buc-ee's. Thank you.
Morning. My name's Linda Drummond. I'm signed in. And I'm also from this area, Wakanda Hills. I live just south of where the Buc-ee's will be. And I just want to say my neighbors are awesome. And they have done their homework and they care. And we all care very much about this. And I want to say, if this were your neighborhood, if this was your water well that is possibly going to be impinged by the amount of water being used, if this is your view, and we have deers and elk in our neighborhood that are not going to be there because of the light and the noise and the traffic. And County Line Road and Beacon Light Road cannot handle the amount of traffic this is going to bring. So all that's already been said. So I'm just going to say I'm with them. And every person should come down here and put their name on the record to tell you that we are against this. And we want you to stop Buc-ee's.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Herbert Pressler. I live at 1214 Greenland Forest Drive in Woodmore, And I'm going to throw a little bit of humor on a very unfunny situation. We're going to put together a Bucky stew here tonight. There's 90 to 100 inches of snow fall on Monument Hill. That's more than every other Bucky's in the country combined. There's high wind on the hill, 7,400 feet of altitude. No other Bucky's comes within 2,600 feet of that. There's going to be a 30-foot wall there. The Great Wall of China is only 26 feet tall. Now, drivers from Texas with no all-wheel drive will also mess up the area. 1,500 to 2,000 cars an hour during high peak hours, 200 RVs, and 5 tour buses trying to get into a 750 spot lot. That's 1,200 more vehicles than the lot can hold. So where do those vehicles go? They'll back up. On I-25, you'll have a bunch of pissed off El Paso County drivers on I-25 in traffic, many of whom I will point out, since you're all elected, are voters. Highway patrol officers will be stressed out. Officers in Douglas County, deputies having to drive down from Castle Rock to handle an El Paso County problem. El Paso County deputies dealing with northbound traffic on County Line Road. Monument and Palmer Lake cops dealing with all the drivers getting off to avoid the mess. How will that affect first responder times? I'll try to have my next heart attack on off-peak hours. Fully loaded trucks trying to creep up Monument Hill eventually have to get to the left, while a bunch of brisket-crazed Texans will try to get to the right. Southbound is 18-wheelers trying to get out to the right, going to the way station, while some yahoo from Texas with a brisket sandwich in one hand and a phone in the other is trying to get to the left. What could go wrong? Now, I realize I'm picking on Texans way too much here, and I apologize, but the owners are from Texas, and there are 32 million Texans just 35 miles from the Colorado border. And by the way, all that brisket that they will serve is shipped in from Texas. It's not made here. And with all the Chinese merchandise that they have in the store, maybe they should not be classified as a travel center, but maybe they should be classified as a Chinese emporium. Don't serve brisket there, serve chop suey, because all the stuff in the store is cheap stuff from China that'll be in your garage sale. The big Bucky billboards could put Bucky's China Emporium and in small letters with brisket. Thank you.
Commissioners, good morning. My name is Tom Robbins. I'm a 28-year resident of Tri-Lakes. A land use review must be capable of reaching both possible conclusions: approval when the criteria are met and denial when they are not. In El Paso County, the planning community development staff do not state whether an application should be approved or denied. It is not required by the Land Development Code. Staff may identify conflicts involving the master plan, compatibility, traffic, water, and surrounding zoning. Yet the standard report still proceeds to propose conditions for approval. There is no equivalent staff recommendation for denial. The outcome at the board level is equally one-sided. The Monument Independent reviewed 357 land use decisions since November of 2021. The board approved 355 of those and denied 2. A homeowner's request to split a 5-acre lot and a regional power line. That's 99.4%, almost as good as Ivory soap. The Commission has not denied a subdivision, master plan community, metropolitan district, or developer rezoning in 4.5 years. Between staff review and the final vote, each application gathers an institutional momentum. County planners, engineers, attorneys, referral agencies, reports and hearings are put into motion. Residents then contribute hundreds of unpaid hours reading those reports, researching the record, writing letters, and preparing testimony. We do not know whether the application fees cover the full public cost of reviewing major projects. The board should disclose that information, publish the staff hours, county cost, and fee recovery associated with major applications. But more importantly, allow the county's planning professionals to give a clear, evidence-based recommendation when they conclude that the criteria have or have not been met. Paying an application fee purchases a review. It does not purchase momentum towards renewal or approval. When neither the staff nor the board says no, reviewing becomes a meaningless process. The Walker Road application arrives before you on Thursday with a 6-1 Planning Commission recommendation for denial. Your response will tell this community whether these findings can still determine an outcome. Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Cheryl Robbins. I'm a 28-year resident of Woodmore. Compatibility begins with place. The first core principle of your El Paso County Master Plan is to manage growth through compatible land uses that preserve the county's character areas. The plan describes the Tri-Lakes as the northern gateway to El Paso County and its most well-established northern community. County Line Road, Highway 83, and I-25 connect our homes, schools, businesses, and neighborhoods. Many Tri-Lakes households rely upon wells and rural infrastructure. These are not lines and colors waiting to be redefined. Together, they form a place. This week alone shows how that place is being changed one parcel at a time. At Iron Ridge, 5-acre zoning is proposed to become 2.5-acre zoning. That item now sits on Thursday's consent calendar. At Walker Road, land zoned RR5 since 1955 is proposed for RM12 and RM30 multifamily zoning. At Monument Hill, a 74,000 square foot interstate travel center asked to be treated as a neighborhood convenience store. Each request depends on changing the description of the surroundings until the proposal appears to fit. A voluntary view easement is called a transition, while density doubles. A school is offered as evidence that rural land has become urban. An interstate is used to recast a community connector as a regional commercial corridor. Each approval then becomes the comparison used to justify the next one. Compatibility has no force if the field of comparison can be widened until distant development outweighs the land touching the property. Measure compatibility at the property line. Use the existing zoning, permitted uses, roads, water, infrastructure, and character in every direction. At the November 2024 Monument Ridge East hearing, Craig Dawsey defended the master plan designation by saying, "I don't remember one comment coming in saying this shouldn't be a priority development area." Let today's record answer that statement. We object to using the place type map to erase the place it is supposed to describe. We object to treating possible future development as a command to change long-standing zoning now. Apply the Land Development Code zoning and master plan as written. Measure the proposal against the place. Do not rename the place to fit the proposal. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we don't allow clapping in this room. Please adhere to our decorum rules. Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. Terry Christensen, Monument.
43-year resident of El Paso County. In 2017, Craig Dossi led El Paso County Planning and Community Development, and Nina Ruiz served as project manager when Land Development Code Amendment LDC 17003 was presented as a broad cleanup measure. Its stated purpose ended with the words, "allow additional administrative authority." It expanded the director's authority in several areas. The director already held authority to classify unlisted uses. The amendment left that power intact while extending the office's administrative authority. The code says unlisted uses are classified by character, descriptor, and intensity as determined by the PCD director. Those terms are not self-defining. The director decides which facts define the use and how its scale and impacts are weighed. That judgment can determine both the label and the review process. The Buc-ee's application shows the consequence of this. It asks the county to classify the entire project as a convenience store based on the products it sells. 74,000 square feet, 120 pumps, 800 parking spaces. And all of that is to be measured as a site development question rather than evidence of what the use really is. If that framing is accepted, a regional travel center becomes an allowed convenience store and subsequent approvals can proceed administratively. The label does not merely describe the project, the label determines the process. Mr. Dossi later led the 2021 master plan and left the county in 2022. Within 4 months, Vertex Consulting Services was incorporated and advertised itself as Insider's Perspective on the land entitlement process. Vertex has since presented Monument, Ridge East, Iron Ridge, the Walker Road rezonings, and Buc-ee's before this county. The issue is structural. The official who oversaw this framework and the master plan now represents the applicants seeking favorable interpretations of both. This board must scrutinize every interpretation independently. Use the current Land Development Code rewrite to narrow administrative authority over consequential contested projects. Require written findings showing how an unlisted use was compared by character, descriptor, and intensity. Create a public hearing pathway for determinations involving projects of regional scale. Do not allow administrative approvals to substitute for public review of the whole project. Successive boards have left these provisions in force. You now control the rewrite and the Buc-ee's appeal process. This system is rigged. A hearing is meant to give equal voice. You are in a position to right the ship. It's your moral obligation and fiduciary responsibility. Please do so. Thank you.
Again, I've asked, we have decorum rules that prevent any applause, so please do adhere to our rules of decorum. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Debbie Hall from the Tri-Lakes area. This is my granddaughter, Brooklyn, who lives in Texas. She's here on vacation with me, and she loves coming to my house. Why do you love coming to my house? Do you have any? You don't have to speak. She loves to see all the deer and comes to the snow. But anyways, following today's meeting, the board will go into executive session for legal advice on the administrative determination appeal process. Your agenda says you will consider legal options for hearing protocols and procedures and presentations. We place these requests on record before the discussion begins. Prior hearing shows the imbalance at the Palmer Lake Planning Commission hearing. The Buc-ee's team presented for roughly 3 hours. I was there, it was like 6 hours. And we waited till like 10 o'clock to talk. They filibustered us. They would not let us talk. We had lawyers and everything there. And they also did presentations that you'll probably see too, of lights saying on my side of the highway, on the right side, it was just as bright. I mean, we're equal, Buc-ee's in that, and that's a lie. So anyways, I had to throw that in. Residents receive only 3 minutes. They are timed, warned against repeating one another, and told the proceedings cannot become a dialogue. The applicants listen, take notes, and receive the rebuttal. And anyways, for Bucky's appeal hearing, we ask the board to establish the following procedures: give an organized citizen group presentation time equal to the applicants. Allow a citizen closing statement after each applicant's rebuttal. Enter the relevant Palmer Lake record and complete county administrative determination record on the appeal record. Establish reasonable disclosed time limits that allow both the applicant and the organized community presentation. Bring the hearing to the Tri-Lakes area and hold it in the evening at a time and place when our community can actually attend. The county's appeal procedure does not lock this hearing into the format residents have seen before. Your agenda acknowledges that you have legal options. The allocation of time, the structure of presentations, and whether the community can answer the applicant's rebuttal are choices within the board's authority. Our requests belong in the decision you are about to have. 3-minute comments can demonstrate the breach of public concern. They cannot replace an organized presentation of evidence or give the community a way to answer the applicant's rebuttal. 19 months of community research and testimony should be reduced to 3-minute fragments, which is terrible. You have the authority to restore balance to the hearing, give the community meaningful opportunity to present its evidence in an organized form, and to answer the applicant's rebuttal and before you decide. And also, notice there's a lot of seniors here, and we've had people from Bucky's that were in the opposition to say, why don't you just move? And that's wrong. And my value of our homes are going to go down. And I'm a real estate agent. Thank you.
I want to thank my neighbors and friends who supported me with 2 days of notice about this, and we did a beautiful little protest out. I hope you'll see pictures of that, and spoke for me and spoke here. I'm going to end with, I'm going to close this out with reading my letter published in the Gazette on July 2nd. El Paso County land use process
could you
is not.
please be sure to state your
Laurel
name?
Scout,
Yes.
sorry.
Thank you.
El Paso County land use process is not broken. It's working. That is the problem. Residents see the same pattern. Incompatible projects enter as if approval is only a matter of procedure. Even when staff findings identify conflicts, residents must argue for the county to enforce its own plan and codes. The MA Infrastructure LLC rezoning at Highway 83 and Walker Road is the latest example. It would convert rural land surrounded by 5-acre lots to high-density multi-dwelling zoning. The county's staff report identified an isolated suburban pocket. No meaningful transition, densities far above the area, and comparable zoning miles away. The Planning Commission saw through it, voting 6-1 to recommend denial. It now goes to the county commissioners at 9 a.m. July 23rd. A board, the Monument Independent reports, has not denied a subdivision, master plan community, metropolitan district, or developer rezoning in 4.5 years. Your El Paso County master plan adopted in 2021 used place types to sort places by their unique identity and character. Yet the adopted map assigns pockets of higher density place type designations within rural and large lot areas where the plan's own criteria do not support them. Craig Dossie led planning and community development during the 2017 Code Amendment and 2021 master plan process. He later founded Vertex Consulting, which now represents developers moving projects through the system he helped to shape. Vertex represents MA Infrastructure and Bucky's. This structure makes the implausible sound procedural. Bucky's is the visible example, a 74,000 square foot travel center seeking administrative classification as a neighborhood convenience store. El Paso County is now rewriting its land development code with promised public input. The rewrite will show whether the county will close these loopholes or preserve them. Public input in land use decisions means little when residents document incompatibility, ask for denial, and watch this board reinterpret the record and approve anyway. El Paso County deserves a land use process that answers to residents. Right now, too often, it answers to the people who built it. Thank you.
Good morning, I'm Casey Gilbert. I just have a few notes. The Stop Buc-ee's sign says Stop Buc-ee's, but then underneath it, it says Save Tri-Lakes. And I think that's the main message we're trying to get across. Buc-ee's can do their stuff, but not on Monument Hill. And you've heard all the reasons why. A couple notes. If you're going into an executive session, I think it should be done in public. Like they've said, do it in public up in Monument, where the people live and see our area. You probably have seen it, but we do contend that a project with the far-reaching and potentially damaging nature of your decision necessitates moral, conscientious, and trustworthy evaluation. Please don't ignore us. You're the ones who we're asking to save our community. A couple other things, as far as Buc-ee's going into Palmer Lake first. When a project has undergone a complete quasi-judicial review in another jurisdiction, as Buc-ee's did in Palmer Lake, and involves the same location, scope, and developer, the county cannot say they've comprehensively considered the scope of a proposal unless they formally accept all those records into evidence. We ask that you do that for this upcoming hearing. What else? We request a public vote on the future of Monument Hill. We trust your judgment, but we'd like to add our own votes to yours in this matter. Given the site's proximity to conserved open space and the $20 million wildlife overpass on I-25, this scale of development will create far greater impacts on traffic, lighting, noise, and wildlife than any standard convenience store. Now, I used to own a convenience store, Black Forest store. There were spills, there were fights, there was crime, there were people throwing trash all around. I have pictures of County Line and Beacon Light where there's just trash all over that park and ride spot. This stuff's going to happen. It's a given with something like this. And we're talking human trafficking too, okay? That goes on in these large travel centers. So please consider, this has really far-reaching consequences.
Thank you. Your time has expired.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak?
Sign in first. Hello, my name is Gretchen Van Cleve O'Donnell. I am a recent resident of Monument. I moved here from Texas after raising my children there. I am not a Texan, I'm not from there. However, I've been to many Buc-ee's in my drives and my times across there. I have no option, or I have no objection to a Buc-ee's center, but
This location is not the right location. Commissioner Williams, we voted for you. All of these people here were in your constituency. I hope you respect what we're saying to you now. This is probably going to go into next year, and the next commissioner that takes this place, I hope he is listening too. I moved here a year and a half ago after experiencing severe cancer, many surgeries. I've had my gut ripped open from stem to stern 4 times. I'm 68 years old. I'm not going to live very long. This is my last house that I will live in. I bought it a year and a half ago for $700,000. The property value of every house in that neighborhood and in any of these neighborhoods that can see that frickin' beaver in the sky is going to drop by $100,000 easily each house. I've become an expert on our aquifers. I was married to a geologist, geophysicist. I know a whole lot about rocks and fractures. The Buc-ee's is drilling into the Arapahoe and the Denver down below. The Dawson does have fractures. It will draw down by static pressure, hydrological pressure, I'm sure I didn't use the right word, into those aquifers as they pull it. My house will be out of water in 2 years. How do you plan to take care of all of us who have lost value in our houses? The county assessor is going to be very busy dropping all of our taxes because our houses are going to be worth less and less money because of the beaver. Now, you guys are just looking at zoning right now, but we know what the bottom line is. We know what their intuition or their plans are going to be. Please consider my life, my liberty, as I live out my last moments on this earth without the glare and the glow of the beaver in my front yard. Consider there's 5-acre lots across the street. That's the zoning, 5-acre lots. Their driveways are going to be opposite Buc-ee's. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Ren Trudell. I live in Woodmore. I moved into Colorado in January of 1992. I have been a resident in Woodmore since April of '92. And when I first moved into the town, I saw this poster in one of the manager's office. And it talks about skiing Monument Hill and the wonders of Monument Hill. Purchased one of these. It's been in my house. I purchased some more recently. And just to remind people, although we have some 90-degree temperatures and maybe hitting 100 degrees down here in Colorado Springs, Monument Hill at 7,352 feet at the mountain pass. And I'll remind people also that Truckee, Donner Summit, is lesser elevation than Monument Pass. We get tremendous snows through this area. And this year coming up is an El Nino. We may wind up with some of those historical snows that I witnessed over the last 34 years. The last 5 to 10 years, we've had minimal snow. What's going to happen if you build and they allow Buc-ee's to go in? As Herb stated, 750 parking spots. I've measured the proposed area on that. It's 19.7 acres of concrete, 74,000 feet worth of building under a roof. The snows are going to come down from the north. They're going to drift in there. People are going to be trapped in that building. There are no seats in Buc-ee's. There are no seats outside of Buc-ee's. When I went up to Buc-ee's here recently, it was 92 degrees, and there was a couple standing outside eating their brisket on the piles of wood that were there. There was another couple sitting on a chair under the only little bit of a shade tree that was there. This does not fit the values or the atmosphere of the area that the people have learned to love and cherish. I will be submitting, when it's appropriate, aerial views of all the Buc-ee's that I could find, and you will see that it is not a convenience store, not at all. Buc-ee's does have some convenience stores, the initial ones built in the early 80s or so, and they were under 3,000 square foot. This is absurd what they want to do. Show and tell also, and I would like just to take a moment, if I can, this is...
Sir, your time is expiring, so you can, if you'd like to leave them with the clerk, it can be...
I will submit if you tell me when a time to submit is, because this is still an improper time to submit.
Yes, thank you very much for acknowledging that we need to hear all of the evidence at the hearing and not during public comment. Thank you.
2 years worth of Remax and properties that are
Sir,
up for,
thank you. Your time
for
is
sale.
far
And
expired.
extend it
Sir,
beyond.
please.
Thank you. These are my friends.
I understand, sir. Please adhere to our rules of decorum. I appreciate that everyone wants to be heard. We're trying to run it in a fair manner. Go ahead, please.
Hi. Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Connie Schmidt. I am a 42-year resident of Monument. And to say that I have seen a lot of changes would be kind of an understatement. I am not anti-development. I am not anti-progress. Can't tell you how excited we were when we first got a grocery store. That was life-changing in a very good way. Buc-ee's would be life-changing in a very bad way. It will affect our community, which is small. We've nurtured, supported our gas stations, our restaurants, our coffee shops, our small retail businesses will all be affected in a very negative way, to say the least, of our properties. And just please don't let Buc-ee's take our quality of life. Monument is a very special place. Don't let them take our dark skies. Don't let them take our water and leave behind the Chinese crap that they will sell that will end up in the landfills. And they will leave their sewer, you know, from their 100+ toilets. This is non-consensual and it feels like rape. Thank you.
Okay, is there anyone else who wishes to speak today during public comment on an item not scheduled on the agenda? Okay, we'll move to item 10.
Item number 10 is the called up consent calendar, and there are no items called up today.
Item 11.
Item number 11 is a resolution authorizing the El Paso County Risk and Self-Insurance Fund to make necessary disbursements to the state of Colorado on behalf of the Pikes Peak Workforce Center. Sunny Bryant, Deputy County Administrator.
All right. Good morning, Madam Chair, Madam Vice Chair, and honorable commissioners. My name is Sunny Bryant, and I serve as the Deputy County Administrator. I'm before you today to present a resolution authorizing the El Paso County Risk and Self-Insurance Fund to make necessary disbursements to the state of Colorado on behalf of the Pikes Peak Workforce Center. So by way of background, On July 10th, 2022, the Colorado Department of Labor and Employment awarded funding to the Pikes Peak Workforce Center through the state and local fiscal recovery funds. So those are the COVID funds that were throughout the nation. On January 23rd, 2023, the Pikes Peak Workforce Center issued a subaward to the Colorado Springs Community Cultural Collective. On December 16th, 2024, the Pikes Peak Workforce Center received a final determination letter from CDLE finding that the required time and attendance reporting had not been adequately maintained and demanding repayment of $828,371.78. On April 25th of 2025, CDLE issued a notice of breach of contract. On June 18th, 2026, CDLE issued an additional finding determination letter disallowing an additional $412,722.01 in costs because the Community Cultural Collective's unique identifying number, or the unique entity identifier, had expired during that grant period. On June 26th, 2026, CDLE issued an additional notice to cure breach of contract. And then most recently, on July 7th, 2026, CDLE issued a vendor offset and began withholding state payments otherwise due to various El Paso County departments. So the initiation of the vendor offsets has significantly increased the urgency to resolve this matter. The resolution before you today authorizes the Risk and Self-Insurance Fund to make necessary disbursements to satisfy the state's demand and bring this matter towards resolution. That's very high level, so I'd be happy to answer any questions that you all may have.
Are there any questions from commissioners? Okay. We will need a motion on this item, or I should say, or comments for that matter. And we will need a motion on this resolution. Oh, yes. You can go ahead first. Go ahead.
Okay. Just a comment also. Thank you, Sonny Bryant, for your work on this, and thanks staff. So we want to be a good steward of the funds. So I'd like to make a resolution authorizing the El Paso County Risk Self-Insurance Fund to make necessary disbursements to the state of Colorado on behalf of the Pikes Peak Workforce Center.
Second. Okay, it's been moved and seconded. I'm going to ask for one more opportunity from any comments, and I know Commissioner Wysong online. I want to give you an opportunity. Would you like to make comments at this time?
Not at this point. I believe Sonny had summarized everything very well. Thank you.
Great. Okay, so at this time, I will call for an opportunity if there is anyone here who would like to speak on this item in the public.
Good morning, Chairwoman Geithner, Commissioners. Thank you for allowing me to come and speak to you this morning. My name is Debbie Miller. I've spent decades working in and with workforce development, as well as state government in Illinois, along with numerous chambers throughout the country. I served as the chair of the Pikes Peak Workforce Development Board for 2 years in 23 and 24. During my career, I have worked through countless audits, monitoring reviews, corrective action plans, and grant compliance issues. I'm here for one reason today. Resolution 26 is premature. These are facts that this board should carefully consider before authorizing the expenditure of more than $1.2 million in taxpayer dollars. And oh, by the way, I'm an El Paso County taxpayer and a neighbor of Commissioner Williams. Also to note on record, I also serve as the representative on the workforce board from Teller County. El Paso County has been compensated for providing administrative and fiscal support to the Pikes Peak Workforce Center. The county billed the Workforce Center nearly $242,000 in '24 alone for procurement, finance, HR, information, and much more county support services. Somehow, Exhibit X has been omitted from your documents, which back up the WIOA fiscal agent agreement signed by you, Commissioner Geithner, in 2023. County finance had a lead role in this, yet nothing is mentioned in this resolution anywhere about that. Before asking taxpayers to absorb another $1.2 million, shouldn't the commissioners first determine what oversight responsibilities accompanied those payments and whether those responsibilities were fully carried out through Exhibit X? Second, there is an active litigation pending in Denver District Court. This case has not been decided. The Workforce Center's insurance carrier has challenged CDLE's determination, and the legal process is still underway. Yet this resolution asks you to pay the disputed amount before the courts have ruled. Once those taxpayers' dollars are paid, the legal posture of this case changes. Why would El Paso County voluntarily weaken its position before the process is complete? And finally, the resolution does more than authorize payments. It adopts findings that will become part of El Paso County's official record while litigation is still pending. Government should not declare disputed matters settled before the judicial process. Commissioners, this is simply not a vote to spend taxpayer dollars. It's a vote to end the fight before the fight's over. I respectfully ask you to postpone Resolution 26 until the legal process has concluded and all facts are known, or simply reject it outright today. And if you'd like those documents, I do have them with me. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak on this item?
Good morning, Chair Geithner, Commissioners. Hello, my name is Linda Weiss. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. For nearly 30 years, I've had the honor of partnering with El Paso County, many of you personally, to build creative programs that met the needs of this community, whether it was supporting youth in the 4th Judicial District, families in DHS, addressing our teen suicide epidemic, and most recently, the creative workforce programs of Opus Creative Industry. Our shared why has always been to create a promising future for this region. The workforce programs were a partnership, city, county, and state, built with federal ARPA innovation funds to launch a pioneering earn and learn model in culinary, early childhood, and media. I stand here representing the hundreds of participants, the business partners, and the families whose lives that program changed. It was innovative, it was transformative, and with the unwavering support of this board and the Workforce Center, we became a recognized state model for putting humanity back into workforce development. I stand here today saddened, disappointed, and frustrated. As I read this resolution, I have to ask, was it all for naught? The countless hours, the jobs created, the businesses and the families impacted, the work of board members, mentors, and students, was it all truly disallowed? Disallowed. Funds that were vetted several times over, reimbursed and used exactly as the ARPA grant required, with no finding and no accusation of waste, fraud, or abuse by anyone. And now, this resolution proposes to investigate the principles of the very organization you once celebrated for a job well done. So I ask you two questions directly. First, by what legal authority does CDLE claw back the very funds it approved and issued? And second, by what legal authority would this county pursue a private citizen for a debt no ruling by a court has ever found? Before you vote, I urge you to consider the consequences of your decision and the timing. The county has only 2 days to challenge the CDLE's final determination, and your insurer is willing to fund that challenge. By passing this resolution, you acknowledge that CDLE's demand is unjust. However, by opting to pay the state instead of contesting it, you place the burden on the county residents for something that was never their fault. You turn your back on all of us and close forever
the opportunity to challenge the good work done by so many. The county will have paid a demand it had every right to contest, and a nonprofit will bear the blame for a loss it did not cause. I urge you to weigh the ripple effects of this decision for everyone who believed in this work. Additionally, I ask that the letters from my sister, Leslie Weiss, on July 17th, and from my previous board chair, Ms. Deborah Hendricks, sent yesterday to be entered in full into public record. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who wishes to speak on this item? Okay, we have a motion and a second. I'm going to ask for one more opportunity for commissioners to make any comments before we vote. Vice Chair Nelson.
I just want to read from the resolution and encourage anyone that would like to learn a little bit more about the situation to go read. It's several pages long, but it sort of describes the situation that we find ourselves in. And I just want to read a couple sections out of this resolution. Whereas, despite the fact that El Paso County was not responsible for the audit concerns, CDLE has caused a vendor offset to be initiated against El Paso County. And rather than target PPWFC, the Pikes Peak Workforce Center, funding, has instead intercepted other state grant funding to El Paso County, including the El Paso County Department of Human Services, which jeopardizes El Paso County's ability to provide the core functions of public health, safety, and welfare concerning its residents. And whereas the board is highly disturbed by CDLE's unilateral actions, particularly by targeting a county department which directly provides public safety and services to families in El Paso County, and for which both have no direct nexus to workforce matters. And whereas the county's position is that CLDE does not have the authority to unilaterally intercept funds under such a mechanism, we will be pursuing the insurance claims so that it isn't taxpayer dollars that will be funding this payback of mismanagement of the funds that were utilized through the COVID relief dollars, and that there was poor documentation and not meeting the federal requirements of documentation, I should say, that caused all of this. And so I just wanted to make it clear that we are going to do our best to not have it be El Paso County residents that will have to pay for this this egregious error that occurred years ago and has now come to light through an audit. And but yet the state is holding El Paso County responsible for a separate organization's mismanagement. So just wanted to make it clear. Thank you.
I'll just add a few additional comments to that as well. And thank you for reading that part of the resolution. I hope that it is clear or helps make it clear. Obviously, the commissioners have that full resolution and have had the opportunity to explore that. But for the sake of the public, who, again, it is several pages, and to clarify, this is a choice that the county is needing to make because of the lack of grant compliance that is evidenced through the audit, but also because the state has chosen to use the vendor offset system to withhold other funds. So those funds are being currently withheld from DHS, I believe some from our sheriff's office, and they are being held by the state. I do not believe that is a legal use of the vendor offset system on behalf of the state, so I am very disappointed in that. But that is a very difficult situation for us to be able to intervene. And in this situation, the state will have already taken more money or the entire amount before we could even legally fight that. So there is no lack of condemnation from me for our state for the choice that they are making here, but we are making a practical decision to the very best of our ability in a unfortunate situation, protect the residents of our county from that offset, which again is going to affect or could potentially affect services here in El Paso County as they take those funds away for organizations and programs that did not have any hand in this, did not have any compliance findings, where the Workforce Center has. And so again, we are trying to protect the rest of El Paso County and our residents by making a decision to pay for this out of the self-insurance fund. And as was mentioned, to then pursue any ways that we may be able to hold accountable those who signed grant agreements and did not follow through on those requirements, as are evidence in the audit here in front of us in the resolution. So it's very important to me to make sure that we all understand the purpose of this. These dollars are already being taken from us, and we are getting to make the choice of where they are coming from, which will be less disruptive to our services here in El Paso County. So I think that's it's incredibly important for us to choose to do that. But there is condemnation for the state for choosing a system which we don't believe this is a legal use. But again, as we have discovered here, it is often very difficult to fight back against the state. We are always willing to do so. But again, the money's already being taken. It's not something that we are able to control because the state has control of that vendor offset system. So I think that this is the appropriate way to proceed to protect the county. And I do want to just quickly address a few things that I think are important, and I don't like it when people put words in my mouth. So I have had some concerns over this organization over the years, and so I don't appreciate it being put on the public record that I fully supported this, because I have had concerns. So as someone who sat on this board and has been here for a time period, I just wanted to make that clear, that other people do not speak for me. Commissioner Williams.
I will state I did fully support this organization. I felt it was a very innovative program. I'm very disappointed that the state is holding me hostage, which is what I feel like they're doing today. Thank you.
Any final comments for commissioners before we take a vote? Okay, we'll begin with Commissioner Wysong.
Aye.
Vice Chair Nelson.
Aye.
Commissioner Applegate.
Aye.
Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. That passes 5-0. Item 12.
Item number 12 is department and committee reports, non-action items, and there are none.
Item 13.
Item 13 is the addendum, and there are no addendums today.
Item 14.
Item 14 is the executive session. 14A, executive session regarding property identified by tax schedule number 12000000474 for the purposes of considering the disposition of property pursuant to CRS 246402-4A and determining positions relative to matters that may be subject to negotiations, developing strategy for negotiations, and instructing negotiators pursuant to CRS 246402-4E. And 14B, executive session pursuant to CRS 246402-4B for the purpose of receiving legal advice on specific legal questions related to the administrative determination appeal process pursuant to Resolution 18-389 and Sections 2.2.1H and 5.3.6 of the El Paso County Land Development Code, including legal options for hearing protocols, procedures, and presentations. Kenneth Hodges, County Attorney, and Lori Sego, Senior County Attorney.
Okay, do I have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, that's been moved and seconded. Are there any comments? I'm going to do something I rarely do, but I am going to add comments. There's been so much interest in this today that I just want to be clear that this is an option available to us under Colorado Sunshine Law that allows for us to get legal advice. That there was a comment made that when was the last time we did this? We actually often, or at least periodically, I would say, take the opportunity when we have items that are outside of what are regular in our land use process to help commissioners make sure that they understand the legal process, the boundaries of that legal process, and it's not related to a specific, we're not discussing the specifics of a actual individual item. That will be all done in a public session, but this is to make sure we understand fully the process, understand what our legal boundaries are. These are these proceedings and hearings are, it is necessary for us to be very careful about how we are legally balancing the rights of all involved. So that is what we are going to be talking about, is how we meet our legal obligations and what our legal obligations are. So just to be clear on that, that is what we are going into the session for. And this is not unusual for us. It's actually typical when we have things that, to say it's typical and unusual and all these things, when we have things that are not often seen in the process. And this appeal, we have not had one of these in a while. So we just want to make sure everyone is up to speed. And that's an important part of the process. And we do that with our attorney so we can maintain our attorney-client privilege as anyone would be responsible to do. Okay, so with that, it's been moved and seconded. I will call the roll, beginning with Commissioner Wysong.
Aye.
Vice Chair Nelson.
Aye.
Commissioner Applegate.
Aye.
Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. We are in executive session.